Welcome to Rauta, and this time a comeback video. This is all about, well, censorship, NSBM, woke, misanthropy, nihilism, and topics like that. So what is this that I'm talking about? What is this video all about? Basically, a comeback to a video which I made in March, released early April. And it was about censorship. Concerts being banned from certain events, festivals and whatnot. Now I used one particular festival as an example, and I used some band shirts, band names as an example how it goes. Some people totally didn't get it. First of all, some people just saw the thumbnail for the video, which was done in a very provocative manner, ways, I admit, with my graphics guy. He created it, and in my opinion he added nice, wonderful ideas. Nice as being like, what the fuck, man? The point here is, it was to provoke you, and it did its job, just nicely. One thing it failed with though was that a lot of you people didn't watch the video at all. I mean, I get it, you're busy and all, so it's easier to just to react to a thumbnail and start, some nonsense talk on Facebook or Instagram. I get it. So you're probably not even watching this. But those who actually did watch the video and who still might be a little bit confused what I'm thinking about it all and what was the point of video, I hope that this video will clarify that at least a little bit. First of all, I'm not a fan of NSBM. I have never exactly particularly liked the given genre. I know, technically speaking, it's a subgenre of black metal, but most of those bands don't really resonate with me. Does it have something to do with the lyrical or ideological takes? Maybe a little bit, but not mostly so, because I rarely read lyrics these days unless I have a project related to that. Why so? That's another topic which I have already addressed. Let's just put it this way. If only the music is good enough for me to check it out, maybe eventually I will read the lyrics and all, but most of them, I just don't care. Most lyrics are not that good. It would be worth my time. Secondly, I've never been too much interested in politics. These days, I kind of loathe the, either far ending of given politics. And I say either, I mean really the kind of American ways where there's only left and right. I'm more left-leaning than right-wing leaning, but I most definitely am not really leaning into either direction. That being said, I could, on a given day, listen to both equally, like bands like, Napalm Death or Dead Kennedys, or for that matter, for some right-wing leaning NSBM. But particularly, I'm not really interested in either of them. Well, Napalm Death would be my choice of favorite band singing about Nazis, because back in the days they made Nazi Punks Fuck Off cover song. So, that being said, there you have it. So, what has woke thing to do with this? Now, personally, I'm not against people having, good thoughts about people and whatnot. Like, don't discriminate, don't do racism, don't do gender inequality and all that stuff. I basically signed that. But then again, I have to say, I'm quite misanthropic in nature. That means I don't take any kind of pride for race. I think race is just a fucking stupid invention. Do I really give a fuck about skin tones? No, I don't. I mean, each and every individual either shines or they don't. There's nothing that makes me give a flying fuck about what kind of skin tone you have. White, yellow, green, purple. I don't care. If you suck as an individual, no kind of a skin tone is gonna save you. Or then again, if you're smart and nice and cool human being, once again, the skin tone doesn't really play any kind of effect with me. It's basically the same thing with genders, with the difference that I actually am attracted to a lot of ladies in the world, so technically speaking, women have the first hand over guys in that sense. Then again, I probably bond more with guys. And about gender equality, I hate it. Everybody should, deserve the same payment for whatever it is, despite what the, kind of a genitalia they have. But that goes beyond the point. My point here is, I am not an NSBM fan, and that video was not about defending NSBM. It was about attacking censorship and ridiculing the whole idea that you start, listing certain bands which you cannot or can have at a given festival. First of all, that very short list in the given video showed only a handful of bands, not even the most hateful bands out there which are known for being, very racist or xenophobic or whatever. It was just a handful of bands, and we see these as problematic. So don't wear a Burzum shirt, or don't wear, I don't know, I don't even remember what that was. But there are a bunch of bands with some ones are more or less actually related to NSBM, and some are really far-fetched. Like Burzum. Yeah, we know that Mr. Weakerness has some very fucking dubious opinions, and personally I cannot agree with his statements. However, that being said, I do like early Burzum quite a lot. So for me, it's always been the same. I can separate the artist. It's, of course, a band is better if I can like both the artist and the art. But there are lots of cases where I just like the art and I don't care about the artist. Or vice versa. Some really cool people do make quite of a shitty or mediocre music, which I just can't like even if I like the person. So for me, there are two different entities. Same goes for my band. You should totally be able to separate me as or Jerry or Rauta from my bands. Why? Because in those bands there are more people than just me. I might be the one writing the lyrics, but that hardly defines the whole band. So if you hate the lyrics, you're probably gonna hate me. Then again, I don't write all the lyrics, so there is that. But point aside, I like to think that a lot of people are just virtue signaling. They're not really the good guys so much as they claim. And what happens with a lot of these political far people is that so-called horseshoe effect. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll use an example, this charging wire cable which is here. Let's put it a little bit shorter so it makes the point. So here it seems this is one end and this is the other, the opposites. But when you actually put them into horseshoe, what happens is that these ends actually are very close to one another. Far right and far left. Yeah, they're almost touching. They're almost kissing, making out. So my point here is, sometimes if you look at like a little bit outsider, you distance yourself from all of it, and you start seeing this horseshoe effect come into play, and you realize both either extreme parties are as annoying. And even among these groups, I mean, I know for instance that Antifa is not one organized group. So one left-winger could be against another left-winger, and they're not really the best pals. You might think they are. Or same goes for NSBM people. I know one far-right leaning, I think it was more like a rock than metal band guy. Once again, he described how upset he was that when he went to Sweden, the guys who were supposed to be these NSBM elite were just snorting coke or whatever, and so much the white supremacy thing. So my point here is, it's not like these are unified people. Sure, certain groups are like, yes, we keep together, we have the united thing going on, and same thing here. Most of us are just for music. We're like, get the fuck out of here, take your politics elsewhere. And when it comes to nihilism, which I mentioned, yeah, I tend to be a very, very nihilistic person, meaning I don't think there is much default values to a lot of things. That includes things like life or mankind, animals, nature, planet. We are just one tiny little thing floating in space, and as such we don't really matter much just outside of this. This is something that I recently actually described in one of my streams, so I'm not gonna use 10 minutes to recap what I just said. If you are interested, go for the April stream and listen to what I just said. And if you don't, because you probably don't, then don't. I am all for music. I love all kinds of music when it's good. So for me, it doesn't really matter if these people are some kind of toxic. Sure, it annoys me if they're really fucking stupid, but if the music is good, I'll let it slide. And when it comes to censorship, I just fucking hate it. I hate when people are trying to limit freedom of speech. And I know some people are saying, but I don't give a shit about your buts. I feel that people should have the right to, explain their thoughts and, their ideas and, all that stuff. Of course, there are laws which prohibit doing something like you're not supposed to call other people with shitty names on the internet, so-called hate speech. So I get it. Or in certain countries, you're not, of course, allowed to wear a certain kind of a hateful clothing, that is swastika with the Nazi ideology thing like in Germany. Don't do it. But that's one thing what is prohibited by the law. And another thing which is like, you're wearing the shirts of wrong bands. That is basically the very same gatekeeping like, hey, name 3 songs of that album or that band you're wearing or we're gonna rip that shirt off. You get it? It's just basically very simplistic bullying. if you don't agree, it's fine. You don't have to agree with me. You can just consider me total idiot, fucking asshole, and all that stuff who knows nothing about nothing, and it's fine. Because I don't matter to you, you don't matter to me. We go separate ways. We can still listen to the same bands, and we can say, hey, Slayer, Bathory, Darkthrone, fucking yeah, or Death Bolt Thrower, whatever that matter. So, I hope this clarified one thing or another, but I think people are so stupid that it doesn't matter how many times I do this video, how many times I explain this stuff, that I think a lot of these things like Nazism is fully bullshit. There are still some people who confuse me for that. So these people are beyond help. So I don't have anything else to add, but I hope you will die. And luckily for me, I'm 100% right here. Everybody will die. So make your life meaningful. Fight some battles that you can actually, make a difference. Or I don't know, get drunk, get laid, and enjoy your life. That's what I have to say. So off you go. Piss off and start listening to metal. Wankers.